Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Darrell Owens, and this is another episode of One on One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television. This is episode 117, and this is the NFL Power Rankings heading into week 13. We are that much closer to the end of the NFL season, and the Power Rankings are getting a little bit tighter. We know almost have a clear picture of who are the teams to watch out for, who are the pretenders, who are the contenders, the pretenders and the contenders, all that fun stuff. We're getting closer to all of that. But as the season chugs along, we got a lot to get into. We got the Power Rankings coming to you here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television. So, for all our Bowie Television listeners, hope everything's been going well. I hope that you've enjoyed the broadcast so far. For our Legacy Maker people who have been here for a long time, glad to have you in the kitchen one more time. Let's go ahead and get it. It's time for One on One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television.
One, 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 one. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to one-on-one at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Hello, wonderful people. Welcome to episode 117 of One on One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Once again, glad to have you all here with me as we break down the power rankings, as we get a little bit closer to the end of the NFL season, the playoff time, all that fun stuff, fantasy football championships, all that stuff is on the line. But we're getting a little bit closer and closer to determining who will be the Super Bowl champions for this season. But we got a little bit of time before we get into that. But once again, we are ready to bring the heat to you, and we're going to go ahead and get into it right off the bat. It's time to go ahead and start off with the bottom. All right, so here at the bottom, starting things off here in week 13. All right, so starting off things here in week 13, we got the number 32 team in the power rankings, the Carolina Panthers. Things haven't changed. They've been at the bottom quite a bit here, this season. They've pretty much held the spot the majority of the season. The Cardinals had that ranking for a while. As you see, they're at 31. But they were in that mix. Carolina, another tough loss. 2 Derrick Henry touchdowns. Put that Titans team, who's sitting at 24 this week on the power rankings, put that Titans team above Carolina for victory on Sunday. And, they fired Frank Wright. Is it the right move? I know. Was it the right move? But, David Tepper, the owner for the Carolina Panthers, so far 6 different head coaches between full-time head coaches and interim head coaches since he has taken over the team. They have not been able to find the right guy to be the leader of that team. And here's the thing. Bryce Young is going to be a very important part of that team's future and can be a very important part of that team's future as long as they, as long as they can figure that thing out. That's the problem right now, is trying to find the right person that can help bring him along. And they let go of everybody. Deuce Staley, he got let go. They let go of Wright. They also let go of Josh McNair, who's a quarterback's coach. So it's just a lot going on in Carolina right now. So they will be on their coaching search from this point on. They're at 32. At 31, the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona had a really rough week last week against the Rams. The Rams team looked really good. This is a different team than we saw a couple of weeks ago, who lost 20-3 to the Green Bay Packers. This Rams team, beat Seattle last week. They're trying to creep back up in that division, trying to get themselves into a playoff position. And guess what? They're still fully in the mix because from the 6th to 7th seed down to about maybe like the 12th, those teams are still all in it. And, in the NFC, it's going to be that way. So there's a couple teams that you see in this bottom that are still in the mix in the playoff run. So it'll be a little interesting to see how it pans out. But the Cardinals, tough one, tough one. Kyler Murray still trying to get back to himself, not quite there yet, but I fully think he will get there, and it still will depend on where they want to go with it. We got the Cardinals at 31. At 30, we've got the New England Patriots. A devastating loss to the Giants. I wouldn't say that. It was one of those boring slugfests between the Giants and the Patriots. The Giants, who are 28 this week on our power ranking, and it was one of those games where it's like I don't know, not even whoever has the ball last, because that's not even the case in this one, because New England had the ball last and they missed a field goal that would give them a chance to go to overtime to potentially win this game. And things are just abysmal for both of those offenses, for the Giants and the Patriots. And even though Danny DeVito, aka uh, aka Matilda's dad, is out there still. He's 2-0. He's got back-to-back wins as a starting quarterback for the Giants. So you got to give old DeVito some love on that one. Tony DeVito, he's done a really good job there. So much love to him. And the Giants are now 4-8. So Patriots at 30, Giants at 28. At 29, the Commanders. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It has been a tough road for the Commanders. A really tough road for the Washington Commanders. They fired their defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, also sent their defensive backs coach along with him out the door. And it's a rough deal for, Washington fans right now. They came in with a lot of hope, a lot of, energy coming into this season, and the energy has slowly been sucked away from this fan base. And I think that a lot of fans just need to give it time. And I know you've heard that 1,000 times. Probably have heard it from me multiple times. But what I'm saying on that one is just give Josh Harris and that group time to kind of get that thing together. You can't just hope them to run in there and then you have a Dave Tapper situation that you got there in Carolina. Give him time to find the right guy. Give him and Magic the right time to find the right guy, and I think they will. So the Commanders are at 29, but a 45-10 loss to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving is not what fans wanted and needed to see from that team. So it's unfortunate, but the Commanders are at 29. 28, of course, the Giants. At 27, the Chicago Bears with a win over the Minnesota Vikings. 12-10 with a game-winning field goal towards the end of the game there. It was an ugly game. Ugly Monday night game. I know Joe Buck and Troy Aikman had to be kicking themselves as they had to go through that. Some people said bore fest. It was definitely not an interesting game. Josh Dobbs had 4 interceptions. And poor Dobbs has been put in some really weird situations this year. He's won some games excitingly, and you're like, man, that kid's got a chance. And then you'll put him in a situation like this where he's still trying to learn the team, even after a couple weeks, and it's just rough. He won 2, he lost 2, and that's kind of where they stand right now. But the Vikings lose that one. The Bears move up to 27 this week, and they are 4-8. At 26, the New York Jets. Oh God, the New York Jets situation is terrible. 34-13, beat down to the Dolphins. The problem with this for the Jets is that their defense is playing well, and that don't look at the numbers and say, man, Darrell, but what that 34 points? It's not that. Your offense is always on the field. Your defense is always on the field, and your offense doesn't give you any type of real production. And I think that's what's happening to the Jets right now. But don't worry, Jets fans. If y'all can find a way to sneak a game or two, you got Atlanta this week. That's a winnable game. You win that game, Aaron Rodgers could return. You may get to see Aaron Rodgers play this year. You may get one more opportunity to see him play. So we'll see. Jets at 26. At 25, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they lose a game to the Colts where it was one of those in-between type of games. Like, you can just see the Bucs not able to produce what they wanted to get done out of there. Baker missed on a couple throws that I thought was like, ugh. And this Colts team just kind of hangs around. Gardner Minshew and the boys doing some really good stuff. So that's what you want to see. and the Colts are now currently the number 7 seed in the AFC. Go figure. So Buccaneers are at 25. At 24, the Tennessee Titans, who were able to get themselves a win on Sunday. And you know, the Titans beating the Panthers in a game where it was ugly. It was just that's the best way to put it. Two rookie quarterbacks trying to find their way, but it was an ugly football game. But hey, they won the game. Derrick Henry scored 2 touchdowns. Titans at 24. At 23, the Los Angeles Chargers, aka the San Diego Chargers. I'll always call them that. I don't think I call them anything different. But the Chargers lose to the best team in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens, 20-10, in a game that they had chances. They had chances, but that's been the Cardinals. Excuse me. That's been the Chargers' mo all year. They've had chances. They've been in the mixing games, and they just can't pull them off. So head coach Brandon Staley is on the hot seat. I mean, like that hot seat is burning, 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 burning right now. So we'll figure out if they're able to get any of that going in their favor. The Chargers are at 23. At 22, the Vegas Raiders, aka the Oakland Raiders. I know I'm still working on that, and that's been years. They had the lead early in that contest against the Chiefs. They were 14-0. Excuse me, they were 14-0, and then the Chiefs just went on an onslaught. And from that point on, the Chiefs were able to win that one 31-17. Pat Mahomes kind of kicked in the gear, but it was still a tough one for Vegas because they had chances. They just couldn't pull it off. And then when you got Pat Mahomes and the crew clicking, it's going to be a tough day. Chiefs win 31-17. Raiders are at 22. At 21, the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know how much longer Cincinnati's going to be in this spot. They lose to Pittsburgh in a game that was very winnable. But Najee Harris and the crew were able to get the win in the end, and the Steelers are 7-4. And no matter what you can say, no matter what you say about my guy Mike Tomlin and the people that whispered that he needs to be gone and all that stuff last year, Mike Tomlin find ways to win football games, and the Steelers are always going to be competitive as long as that man is the head coach. All right, so there's the bottom: Panthers, Cardinals, Patriots, Commanders, Giants, Bears, Jets, Bucks, Titans, Chargers, Raiders, and Bengals. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the bottom heading into week 13. Let's go ahead and take it to the outside looking in. All right, outside looking in for week 13 as we get a little bit closer. At number 20, we got the New Orleans Saints. I don't know. Their offense is just bad. And it's crazy because they got pieces, but their offense is just bad. And that's the best way that I can put that. That's the best way I can put that. And they're gonna have to figure that out. And if they don't figure that out, they're gonna I don't know, but they still have a chance in this division. It's the best way I can put it. They lost the lead to the Falcons, but the Falcons are not any better. Somebody's got to win that division. Somebody gets a playoff spot that they probably don't deserve. But it is what it is. But the Saints are at 20, and they've still got some figuring out to do. At 19, the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams look pretty good, and back-to-back wins after a loss to Green Bay. They've been able to bounce back, and they've gotten back-to-back wins, beating Seattle week before last, and then beating Arizona. So nice 2 wins against a division opponent. But like I said a little bit earlier, the Rams are not out of the mix. They still can get into the playoffs. They're right on the cusp of it. So the Rams at 19. At 18, the Green Bay Packers, another team who have won 3 out of 4. And surprisingly, in my opinion, have won 3 out of 4. But it is what it is. And I also like the fact that you can tell that the team is starting to grow together. The defense is playing a little bit better. When there's a nice win against Detroit. I mean, Detroit has been one of the best teams in the league. Heck, Detroit beat up on Green Bay back in, I believe it was week 4. And so, Green Bay, I had no confidence to an extent because like I said, no confidence, but I felt like that not New Orleans. My mind's all over the place. I felt like Detroit was going to win that game. I just thought they would have all the pieces needed to take care of business in that one. But unfortunately for them. The Packers came to play, and they started off with a 53-yard bomb to Christian Watson. The rest was history. Packers went on from there to win the game 29-22. Go back up. Packers are at 18. At 17, the Atlanta Falcons, of course, they beat the Saints 24-15. Bijan Robinson had himself a really nice day. And, fantasy owners had to be smiling because he had 2 touchdowns on the day, one receiving, one rushing. So good day for him. Falcons take the lead in the division and currently are the 4th seed in the NFC. At 16, the Minnesota Vikings, we talked about their game with Chicago, just didn't go too hot. Wasn't pretty. Is the best way to put it. They still have a chance, though. Right now, they are currently the 7th seed in the NFC, and they still got a chance. They still can make the playoffs. And Josh Dobbs and are just gonna have to, put everything together. At number 15, we got the Buffalo Bills. This Buffalo team makes me upset. They had the game in their hands. They had Buffalo ready to put the vice grips on them, and it it just didn't happen. And it's a little bit unfortunate. I did pick them last week. I thought they could sneak them, and it was a great game. It's a great game, but 30, I believe final score was 37-34. It was either 38-34 if they kicked the field goal, but final score on that one ends up going in the favor of the Eagles, or 37-34. So Buffalo's a good team that can win games, but they also lose games sometimes that they're not supposed to lose. Now, in this case, this one is okay. But in other cases, it's not so okay. So Buffalo, you got to figure it out, because right now you're on the outside looking in of the playoffs. Buffalo at 15. At 14, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are right now currently the 6th seed in the NFC, but they've struggled the last couple of weeks with back-to-back losses to division opponents, losing to the Rams, losing to the 49ers on Thanksgiving. So they need a bounce-back week. They got the Dallas Cowboys tonight on Thursday Night Football at Dallas. So this is a game that I think they can win, because Dallas hasn't beaten anybody with a winning record so far this year. And touche, the Seahawks have a winning record. But this is also a big game for Dallas, because they have a chance to prove that, hey, they're not, just beating up on weak teams. But we'll see how that goes tonight from Jerry's World. We got the Seahawks at 14. At 13, the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are in the mix. They're the 7th seed in the AFC right now. They're chugging right along, trying to make things happen for themselves. They've got a chance to make the playoffs under Gardner Minshew and the crew. So kudos to the Colts. They may be without Jonathan Taylor, who's dealing with a thumb injury, which came up at a bad time once when he was starting to click. So that's something you don't want to see if you're the Colts, but it has happened. The Colts are at 13. At 12, we've got the Tennessee Titans, the Houston Texans. I'm telling you, I'm jumping all over the place today. The Houston Texans are at 12. And Houston had a chance to win the game against the Jaguars. They were in the mix. It was a great football game. If you want an entertaining football game between two division rivals, this was that game on Sunday. The Texans had a chance to tie it and send it into overtime, but the field goal kicker missed it. It hit right. It was right down the middle, but it hit right off the crossbar for the Jaguars to maintain the lead in the AFC South. And it was close, because if it would have won for the Texans, they would have taken the lead in that division. So that division is still going to be tightly contested, I think, throughout the end. You got the Colts battling, you got the Texans in the mix, and of course, you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars who are on top. At 11, the Denver Broncos. You know what? I'd have never thought the Denver Broncos would be in this spot, but they are on the cusp of hitting the top 10. Russell Wilson and the boys are playing well. 5 straight victories. They've got a chance to surprise some people. Now, I don't know if they'll make the playoffs and make a lot of noise or anything like that, but they're playing like they want it. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing right there. They're playing like they want it. That's going to be huge as things continue to go along. So here it is, outside looking in: Saints, Rams, Packers, Falcons, Vikings, Bills, Seahawks, Colts, Texans, and Denver Broncos. All right, so now we are set for the top 10, and let's get to it. All right, top 10 for this week. And, the top 10 has been pretty steady the last couple of weeks. It's been maybe a couple of moves here and there. One move from last week, the Texans, after their loss, drop out of the top 10, and the Steelers pop back in. They're at number 10 this week. Once again, like I talked about earlier, you see Mike Tomlin just finding ways to get this Pittsburgh Steelers team wins. And hey, sometimes that's what it's about. They're a team you don't want to see because they're going to play you tough and they're going to keep it close. That's just what they do. That's just what the Steelers do. And they're at number 10. At number 9, we got the Cleveland Browns. Tough loss for the Browns against the Broncos, but you got to remember the Browns are without their starting quarterback, Deshaun Watson. They've been starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson the last 2 weeks. He won last week, could not pull off against the Broncos this week. The Broncos had that one in hand, especially against the team that a lot of people see as the number one defense in the NFL in the Cleveland Browns. But right now the Browns are still in the playoffs, so there is hope for Cleveland. They're at number 9. At number 8, you got the Detroit Lions. And the Detroit Lions were number 3 last week. They take a little bit of a drop this week due to the loss to the Packers, but I still feel like this Lions team can make noise in the NFC. They, in my opinion, are the third best team for sure in the NFC. But they, in my opinion, could beat Eagles team or beat a 49ers team on the right given day. So we got Detroit at 8. I think they'll bounce back this week. At number 7, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, an impressive 45-10 victory over the Commanders. My biggest knock on the Cowboys right now, this is my biggest knock, they have to beat teams that we need to see them beat teams that are over 500, and we haven't seen that so far this season. Now, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're beating all of the teams they're supposed to beat. They've done a great job of that except for the Arizona game. They could easily be 9-2 right now and be the second best team in the NFC. But that's where they stand right now. They still got hopes of catching Philadelphia. They've got to play them one more time. So Dallas still could win this division, but Philly has been handling things. So we got the Cowboys at 7. At 6, the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins get a win against the Jets on the first ever Black Friday football game. So we had NFL football pretty much the whole weekend except for Saturday, but we had Thursday, Friday, and Sunday and Monday. But we saw the Dolphins go in there and handle things against the Jets. They're at number 6, but they're another team like Dallas who we haven't seen beat anybody, good. So, and the Dolphins are undefeated at home so far this season. And so they hit the road again to take on the Commanders this week. And that's going to be an interesting one because the Commanders now have Ron Rivera calling the plays after the firing of Jack Del Rio. And this could be a setup game for the Dolphins. They have to be careful. Dolphins at 6. At number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars get the win over the Texans. They're looking pretty good. And Trevor Lawrence and the boys are rolling right along. They're at 5. At 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a team that have had their moments here and there. They still won last week against the Raiders, even though it started off a little slow. My biggest concern about Kansas City is making sure that they can get their receivers to catch the football. If they can, catch a little fire on that end, Kansas City is going to be unstoppable. That's just my opinion. They're at number 4. At number 3, the San Francisco 49ers, who, after winning their first 3 games, then lost their next 3, have now won their last. So they've won their last like 3 or 4 here, and so now San Francisco is starting to click. So after they won their first 5, then lost 3, and now they won 3 in a row and again. So San Francisco starting to really, crank things back up. They're looking just as good. We got a big matchup between them and the Eagles this weekend. I cannot wait to see that. So San Francisco's at number 3. At number 2, the Ravens with their win over the Chargers. They're the best team in the AFC. They currently hold the 1 seed, and Lamar Jackson doesn't have a bye this week, so they don't have to stress. They're at 2. And, of course, at number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles after their big-time win over the Buffalo Bills. So, top 10, Steelers, Browns, Lions, Cowboys, Dolphins, Jaguars, Chiefs, 49ers, Ravens, and Philadelphia Eagles. So there they are. There's your power rankings as we head into week 13. But let's go ahead and finish it up with the finale. All right, so finale for we give love to our players of the week from last week. Mr. Dak Prescott and Mr. Rashawn Gary. Dak Prescott, 22 for 32, throwing the ball, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 142.1, and a 45-10 victory over the Washington Commanders. Then Rashawn Gary, big game against the Detroit Lions on the defensive side, man. 7 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a 29-22 victory over Detroit. And snapping a losing streak. I mean, the Packers hadn't beat Detroit since like 2021. So it was a nice win for the Green Bay Packers on Thursday. Now, we head to our MVP race. Now, this is taking a different turn. I've done a little bit more soul searching. Right now, it's got to be Jalen Hurts as your MVP. And the numbers are not sexy, but he's leading that team in the right path. So they look great right now. He's the unquestioned leader on that team, even though A.J. Brown's had a couple of rough weeks. One person that's, plays been kind of steady for the most part has been Jalen Hurts, and he's leading the best team in the NFL right now. He's at number one. Number two, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey does Christian McCaffrey things. And I know he's not going to win the MVP. I know better than that. But in my opinion, he's the most valuable player on that 49ers team right now. At number three, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, playing really good football right now. Lamar, in my opinion, has quietly put himself in this conversation because people haven't really been talking about the Ravens. And even though they're the 1 seed, they don't get a lot of love. The defense is getting a ton of love. So you got to give credit to them on that. Shout out to our girl, Karita Parks, out there covering the Baltimore Ravens for the Bowie Television. So we got Lamar at 3. At 4, we got Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, leading the Kansas City Chiefs right now to an 8-3 record. And C.J. Stroud, I still think that the year that he's having has been impressive. Definitely the lead candidate for the Rookie of the Year. So there it is. Hurts, McCaffrey, Jackson, Mahomes, and Stroud for the MVP candidates. Now let's take a look at our NFL experts for last week. Top 5 experts from last week. Look at Jay coming in with a 12-4 record. Had the best record last week. He led the way for the experts. Then Joey, Jess, LT, and Ty all with 11-5 records last week. They are our NFL experts of the week. Leading the way in the Legends division, James still holding on to a 5-win lead over moi. Not a fan of that, but all I care about is getting the playoffs right now. Just got to get into the playoffs. So it's James, me, Joey, Victor, Justice, Corey, and Lamont. There's a mix right there for that 7 seed. Joey has a 7 seed right now. Victor, Justice, and Larry all fighting for that other spot. Switching to the other side, you got Russ, Christina, Ty, Larry, Jay, Rob, and Joe in that order. Russ leading the way overall with 120 wins on the season. Christina at 116, Ty at 112. Of course, you saw what my record is. That's why I stand back-to-back rough weeks, back-to-back 7 loss weeks. That's got to change here in week 13. Then swinging over to our power rankings, playoff standings as they stand right now. Right now, the Ravens are the 1 seed. They would have a bye if the playoffs started today. It would be Chiefs versus Colts in the 2-7 matchup, Jaguars versus Browns in the 3-6 matchup, Dolphins versus Steelers in the 4-5 matchup. In the NFC side of things, the Eagles would have the bye. The 2-7 matchup will be the 49ers and the Vikings. The 3-6 matchup, the Lions and the Seahawks. The 4-5 matchup, the Falcons and the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, tonight I have Dallas winning this one 27-24, getting that much needed win over a very I won't say a winless opponent, but an opponent that has a winning record. So we'll see if Dallas can get that win tonight. Then, last but not least, here it is. My winners for week 13. I got Cowboys, Dolphins, Chiefs, Chargers, Cardinals, Colts, Texans, Lions, Falcons, Bucks, 49ers, Rams, and Jaguars. I feel like I don't know if this is the winning lineup or not, but that's what I'm hoping for. That's all I can ask for because I need some wins this week. All right, everybody, that is it for episode. This is it for episode 117 here, a 101 on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course on Bowie Television. So thank you all for tuning in for another one. We'll be back next week for episode 118. Can't wait to bring you that. Thank you all once again for tuning in. It'll be week 14 of the Power Rankings. and the sexiest month of the year will have begun by then. Cannot wait. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the